Hi, I'm Sali and I'm studying the Certificate of Garment Technology at New Zealand Fashion Tech. I learned about NZ Fashion Tech in a few different ways. One of them was because I worked in the industry for a year and I worked for a designer, and so you get to know all the different institutes and the people working within the industry. And me and a few of my colleagues actually went to one of the Fashion Tech fashion shows. So that's one way I knew about it, and I actually knew a couple of ex-students as well. And when I thought about going back to study, I researched a couple of places, but New Zealand Fashion Tech was the one that stood out for me, and the one that I felt kind of fit what I wanted to do. Well, I went off and studied fashion design, a degree in fashion design straight after high school, and then once I completed that, I took a year break, and then I worked in the industry for another year, and then I decided to come to Fashion Tech, New Zealand Fashion Tech, after that 1 year in the industry because my practical skills was something I always wanted to work on. It's something I felt was kind of my weakest point. So I wanted to really gain confidence in that area, and I felt like New Zealand Fashion Tech was where I wanted to do it, so I came here. Studying fashion design in a university rather than somewhere like Fashion Tech is really different. There's no wrong or right. It just depends how you learn things and what you actually want to get out of it. In a university environment, there's so much more that you have to cover. You've got your pattern making, obviously, your construction, your design, then you've got your theory, but you've also got so many other options that you can take, so many different classes, whether it's knitwear, costume, marketing. And because there's so much to cover, you just get less time to do everything. So you don't get that extensive lesson on each subject. And I guess that's why some people feel like coming to a place like New Zealand Fashion Tech, you would gain more, but it really depends on what you're trying to gain. And I guess that's why I came here, because I felt like I wanted to extensively, I wanted to know more about the practical side. I wanted to go deeper into that, which I didn't get a chance to do when I was at university. It's not just about how to do it, it's knowing how a garment is put together. Or it's not only being able to do it, it's understanding the process of how it's done. And you gain confidence without even realizing it. And it's also about knowing how to do it without having someone standing over you saying, oh, hang on a minute, this is how you actually do it. You can just get told what to do and you're like, yep, I know how to do that. You get what you need and you put it together. And even if you want to go into something like production, actually knowing and understanding how something is put together, or if something's not working, how to solve it. Doing something like garment technology or pattern making will help you do that. I originally came to New Zealand Fashion Tech to study pattern making, but I felt, after speaking to some of the recruiters here, I realized that I probably needed to go right back to the start and get into the construction side of it, learn that, and then move on to pattern making. So I'm definitely moving on to the Certificate of Pattern Design after my garment technology. After that, I'm not sure. I don't know if I'll need to go to diploma. I may have already covered what they learn there. But if I don't move on to diploma, I'll definitely just get back into the industry and make my way to where I want to get to. What I want to achieve in industry, it changes all the time. And people who are ahead of me, people who are already in diploma will say it as well. Every time you start a new course, your idea of where you want to go changes. And this being the second time learning all these things, I'm still trying to make up my mind. There are some days where I want to be a designer, there are some days where I want to work in a design team or be a buyer. It kind of goes back and forth all the time. But as long as I'm thinking about where I want to go, when I know where I want to go and I'm working towards that, I think I should be fine. I've actually learned a lot. Like even having spent a few years in a university, learning everything that I did, even though some things in the course that I'm doing now I find easier than maybe other people, or I kind of already know how to do it, I'm still finding this really challenging. I'm still learning so much, and I'm learning better and easier ways of doing everything. And having to do everything 40 times actually helps you remember it. So the next day you come and you know exactly what you're doing. So I've actually, even though I've done a lot of this stuff before, I'm still being challenged and I'm still learning a lot. Yeah. There's a few reasons why I think New Zealand Fashion Tech, I think, fits in with a lot of people. One of them is it's a really great foundation. Even if you did want to end up at a university doing a degree, coming to a place like New Zealand Fashion Tech helps you, it prepares you for it, because you're learning all these things that you might not get to learn in a university environment, all that in-depth stuff, so that if you do want to go on to university, doing fashion in university, you kind of have that background knowledge. Also, you get placement, work placement, no matter what you do at Fashion Tech. In every single course that you go to at Fashion Tech, you're going to get work placement, which is, I think, really beneficial, especially if you're straight out of high school, you've never worked, you don't have experience. Having that experience is really going to help you understand where you want to go and what you want to do. And not many people, not many institutes actually go out and help you find that work experience. So I think that's really important too. I actually love it here. Just before I started, I didn't know what to expect. I knew what kind of headspace I was going to try and get into once I was here, but I never knew that it would be as good as it is. Our tutor, Heather, is awesome. She's so helpful, and she's really fun, and she allows us to learn things in our own way. So she's not telling us this is how you have to do it, she's letting us find our own way of how we want to do things. And the people here are really friendly, and it's really a close-knit environment, so I really, really love it. And I'm having a really good time so far.